Think about the foods you consider the healthiest in your pantry right now. You probably have a jar of nuts that you snack on every single afternoon. You eat them because every health show tells you they protect your heart and brain. But what if I told you that for your kidneys, those very same snacks could be a silent danger?
I lived that nightmare just a few months ago. I was doing everything right by the book. I exercised every morning, and I never touched a drop of alcohol. My daily treat was a bowl of what I thought were heart-healthy almonds and cashews. Then I sat in front of my doctor with a lab report that made my hands shake. He looked me in the eye and asked what I had been eating lately. Then he said words I will never forget. "Robert, you are unknowingly putting an overwhelming strain on your kidneys."
It is a story I hear in my clinic almost every single week. Most people believe they are building a shield for their health. But in reality, they are creating a massive mineral overload for their filtration system. The tragedy is that the kidneys are incredibly patient and rarely scream for help until it is almost too late.
Today, we are finally pulling back the curtain on this hidden health trap. We are going to reveal the 3 popular nuts that might be causing hidden stress to your kidneys if you want to protect your kidney function. But more importantly, we will show you the 3 specific life-saving alternatives. These are the smart swaps that supported Robert's journey to improve his markers and regain his vitality. Before we get to those solutions, we need to understand how a healthy routine can go so wrong. Let us go back to the very beginning of Robert's journey. Robert, let us start with your daily routine, because it sounds like the absolute gold standard for health.
I really took pride in my discipline because I wanted to be around for my family for a long time. Being a retired teacher, I have spent 30 years living my life by a very strict and organized schedule. Every single morning at 6 o'clock sharp, I was at the local park practicing my Tai Chi.
That is the kind of commitment most people only wish they could maintain after retirement.
It truly made me feel like I was winning the battle against the aging process. After my exercise, I would come home and brew a fresh pot of high-quality oolong tea. And right there on the coffee table, I always kept a large glass bowl of almonds and cashews.
It sounds like the perfect heart-healthy snack that we see recommended on every health channel.
Exactly. I followed the rules that every magazine and health expert seemed to agree on. I was eating those nuts by the handful every single afternoon because I thought they were my health shield.
You were doing everything right, yet your body was starting to send out some very quiet whispers.
They were so subtle at first that I just ignored them or found an excuse for everything. I would look in the mirror every morning and notice that my eyelids looked unusually puffy. I told my wife that I probably just had too much water before bed, or maybe it was seasonal allergies.
That is a very easy explanation to buy into when you feel otherwise healthy.
But then the heaviness in my legs started becoming impossible for me to brush off. By 4 in the afternoon, my ankles would be so swollen that my favorite shoes felt tight and painful. It felt like I was dragging lead weights around my house just to get a glass of water.
Did it ever cross your mind that those healthy nuts were contributing to this?
Not even for a second, because I believed I was eating the best food possible for my age. I just kept telling myself that 72 is simply a different kind of tired than 60.
We hear that so often. The idea that declining energy is just an inevitable part of getting older.
That is the great deception, because the kidneys are often the silent sufferers of our good intentions. They are designed to be incredibly tough, and they do not have the same pain signals as a toothache. When the kidneys start to struggle with an overload of minerals, they communicate through fluid retention.
So that morning puffiness Robert mentioned was actually a cry for help from his filtration system.
Precisely. It was a clear sign that his body could no longer keep up with the waste it was being fed.
Robert, was there a specific breaking point where you finally realized this was more than just aging?
It happened on a Tuesday when I tried to carry a small basket of laundry up the stairs. Halfway up the steps, my heart started racing, and I completely ran out of breath. I had to sit down right there on the carpeted steps, and I felt a wave of pure terror wash over me. I realized that my discipline was failing me, and I did not know why.
That must have been a deeply humbling and scary moment for a man who took such pride in his health.
It was a wake-up call that I could no longer ignore through excuses or allergies.
But as we are about to find out, the real shock was not the symptom itself. The real shock came when the doctor looked at the lab results and pointed directly at his snack bowl. Because a single number on a medical report was about to change Robert's life forever. So Robert, after that scary moment on the stairs, you finally decided it was time to see a doctor.
I did, and I will never forget sitting in that small, sterile examination room, waiting for the results. I was holding a printed lab report that felt like it weighed 100 pounds in my hands.
Most of us just see a bunch of confusing numbers on those pages.
Exactly. But there was one specific number circled in red ink that immediately caught my eye. It said creatinine 1.5.
To a layman like me, 1.5 sounds like such a tiny, insignificant number.
That is exactly what I told the doctor, because I thought it was just a fraction above the normal range. I looked at him and said, "It is only a tiny bit high, so it is no big deal, right?"
And I am guessing he did not share your optimism.
He did not smile. He just looked at me with a very heavy, serious expression. He told me that my kidneys were currently working at less than half of their normal capacity.
That is a terrifying thing to hear when you have spent your whole life being so disciplined.
It is a shock that breaks the hearts of many patients when they first hear it in my office. You see, 1.5 might look like a small digit on a piece of paper, but in medicine, it is a loud alarm bell.
Doctor, why is that specific number such a massive warning sign for someone like Robert?
Think of your kidneys like the most silent and hardworking guardians of your home. They do not complain when the roof leaks or when the windows are broken. They just keep working and working in the background until they are completely exhausted. By the time an adult reaches a creatinine of 1.5, their filtration system is already under extreme stress.
But doctor, Robert was eating healthy and exercising every single day of his life. How does someone with all the right habits end up with failing kidneys?
That is exactly what I call the paradox of the healthy trap. For a perfectly healthy person, those nuts are great, but for Robert, they were like high mineral bombs. His kidneys were trying to diffuse these bombs every single day, but they eventually ran out of energy.
I felt like I had failed a test that I did not even know I was taking.
It feels like a complete betrayal by your own body, does it not?
It truly does, and I kept asking myself over and over what I could have possibly done wrong.
The most dangerous part is that 70% of people do not find out about kidney stress until it is almost too late. Most people are walking around right now with no idea that their healthy snacks are the very thing causing the damage.
That statistic is absolutely staggering, and quite frankly, it is a little bit scary. We need to understand the mechanism behind this before it happens to someone else. Doctor, what is actually going on inside that filtration system when we eat these specific nuts?
To understand the danger, we have to look at the microscopic battle happening inside the kidney tubes.
Doctor, I think we all need to understand the science behind why these healthy snacks turned on Robert.
To visualize this, I want you to imagine the drain under your kitchen sink. When the drain is brand new and clear, you can pour almost anything down it without a single problem. But if that drain is partially clogged or narrowed by years of use, even a little bit of heavy waste will cause a flood.
So the kidneys are essentially that drain, and the nuts are the heavy waste.
Exactly. And the first villain on our list is the beloved cashew. Cashews are incredibly high in two minerals that kidneys struggle to process, which are potassium and phosphorus.
Why are those two minerals so hard on a filter that is already struggling?
When potassium builds up in your blood because the kidneys cannot flush it out, it starts to interfere with your heart rhythm. Phosphorus is even more devious because it actually steals calcium directly from your bones. This turns your blood vessels into hard and brittle pipes that can eventually crack or fail.
That is a terrifying thought for someone who thinks they are just having a light snack.
Now we have to talk about the common trap, which is the almond.
Wait, almonds are the gold standard for health? So how can they be on this list?
Almonds contain a very high amount of a compound called oxalates. I want you to think of oxalates as tiny, jagged crystals that can irritate the delicate filters in your kidneys.
Shards of glass inside your kidneys sounds like an absolute nightmare.
As these shards pass through the delicate tubes in your kidneys, they create thousands of tiny scratches and scars. Over time, these scars build up until the kidney becomes stiff and loses its ability to filter anything at all.
I remember the doctor telling me that my kidneys looked like they had been through a war zone.
That brings us to our third group of villains, which are salted pistachios and peanuts. Pistachios have even more potassium than cashews, and the added salt is the #1 enemy of kidney health. High sodium causes your body to hold on to water, which is exactly why Robert felt that heaviness in his legs.
And what about peanuts? Are they just as dangerous as the others?
Peanuts carry a specific risk of mold called aflatoxin if they are not stored perfectly. Aflatoxin is a potent toxin that can cause significant long-term damage to your organs if consumed over a long period.
So it is not necessarily that the nuts themselves are evil for everyone. It is simply that once your filter starts to age or weaken, these foods become too much to handle.
You hit the nail on the head because the nuts stay the same, but your body's capacity changes.
I wish I had known this years ago before I spent so much money on these snacks.
Robert, do not be so hard on yourself, because almost no one talks about this hidden trap. But now that we know what to avoid, I think everyone is wondering if there's anything left that we can actually eat.
There is actually very good news because there are 3 specific nuts that act as heroes for your kidneys.
Does that mean we do not have to give up our afternoon snacks entirely?
Not at all, and in fact, these 3 options can support the kidney's natural environment and help maintain overall function.
Doctor, you have clearly identified the villains in our pantry, so please tell us, there is a hero in this story too.
There absolutely is, and the best part is that you do not have to stop enjoying your afternoon snacks. We are just going to upgrade them to what I call the kidney lifesavers.
I think everyone watching right now is leaning in because we all want to know what we can actually eat.
Our first hero is the macadamia nut, is a powerful ally for kidney-friendly nutrition. If you compare it to the cashew, the macadamia has less than half the amount of potassium and phosphorus.
So just by switching to macadamias, you are instantly cutting the kidney's workload by 50%.
Exactly, and it gets even better because macadamias contain a special component called palmitoleic acid. I call this the fire extinguisher because it helps douse the chronic inflammation that slowly burns inside a damaged kidney.
I can tell you that switching to macadamias was the easiest change I ever made. They are rich and buttery, so I never felt like I was missing out on my old snacks.
That is so encouraging to hear. So, doctor, what is the second hero on our list?
The second hero is the walnut, which is basically the ultimate vessel cleaner for your body. Your kidneys are essentially a massive cluster of tiny, spiderweb-like blood vessels that filter your blood. Walnuts are packed with omega-3 fatty acids that act like soft brushes cleaning out the gunk from those delicate vessels.
So it is like giving your kidneys a deep clean from the inside out every single day.
Precisely, and when those vessels are clean, blood flows better, and the kidney can finally get the oxygen it needs to repair itself.
I started adding walnuts to my morning porridge, and I noticed my energy levels started to stabilize within just 2 weeks.
2 weeks is an incredibly fast turnaround for such a simple dietary adjustment.
Our final hero is a bit of a secret weapon in the West, and that is the flaxseed. I think of flax seeds as the extra trash collectors for your entire filtration system.
How does a tiny seed help collect trash for an internal organ like the kidney?
Flax seeds are full of soluble fiber that traps toxins and waste products right in your gut before they ever enter your blood. By catching the trash early, you are preventing all that waste from ever reaching your kidneys in the first place.
It is like hiring an assistant to do half of the employee's work so they do not get burned out.
I was skeptical about flax seeds at first, but they really helped with that heavy feeling I had in my legs.
That is because your body was finally flushing out the excess fluid and waste that had been backed up for years.
This shift from villains to heroes makes so much sense. But I imagine it is not just about what you eat. Does the timing or the way we prepare these nuts make a difference in how well they protect our kidneys?
It makes a massive difference because knowing what to eat is only half of the battle. The other half is knowing the exact daily protocol to ensure these heroes can do their job without being wasted.
Then let us not wait any longer because I know our viewers are ready to start their own kidney rescue plan. Doctor, we have the list of heroes, but how do we actually put them to work in a busy, everyday life?
It is all about timing and working with your body's natural internal clock to get the maximum benefit for your kidneys. I call this the 24-hour kidney support routine, and it is a simple protocol that anyone can start tomorrow morning.
I love that name. So let us walk through a typical day for someone who wants to protect their filtration system.
The shield starts at 6 o'clock in the morning with a single glass of warm water. Your kidneys crave warmth to stimulate blood flow, and they do not react well to ice-cold water first thing in the day.
That is a very easy first step. So what happens once we are fully awake at 7 o'clock?
At 7 o'clock, I want you to eat exactly 6 walnuts on an empty stomach before you have your full breakfast. Having them on an empty stomach ensures that those omega-3 fatty acids are absorbed directly into your blood vessels.
I found that eating the walnuts early also helped me feel much more focused throughout my entire morning.
That is a great bonus. So now we have moved through the morning. What does the afternoon look like?
Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, your energy and blood sugar often take a dip, which puts stress on your system. This is the perfect time for 10 macadamia nuts paired with a small cup of warm, light tea.
You mentioned avoiding green tea earlier, so what should our viewers look for instead?
Stick with white tea or a light black tea because they provide a gentle warmth without the cooling effect of green tea.
And we still have one more hero to fit into the day, which is the flaxseed.
During lunch or dinner, you should add 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed to your meal to act as your waste collector. But you must follow the sponge rule, which means drinking 2 large glasses of water immediately after eating them.
Why is the extra water so critical when we are using flax seeds for kidney support?
Without water, the flax seeds cannot expand into a gel to trap toxins, and they might actually cause constipation instead.
Once I started following this exact schedule, my body felt like a completely different machine. In 6 months, my creatinine went from that scary 1.5 down to a healthy 1.1.
Robert, that is a phenomenal improvement, and it all started with just changing your snack choices.
No more puffy eyelids in the morning, and no more heavy boots on my feet when I walk at night.
I want to ask our viewers right now, which part of this 24-hour shield sounds the easiest for you to start? Is it the morning water, the walnut ritual, or the afternoon macadamias? Please let us know in the comments, because your commitment today is the first step toward a healthier tomorrow.
This plan is not about perfection. It is about giving your kidneys the consistent support they deserve.
We have the protocol, but there are still a few technical traps in your medical tests that you need to be aware of. Before we finish, the doctor has some insider secrets that could prevent a false alarm during your next checkup. Doctor, that daily protocol sounds life-changing, but I know you have some insider tips to help us avoid a false scare at the doctor's office.
I certainly do because there is a massive trap when it comes to reading your standard kidney lab results. Most doctors only look at your creatinine levels, but this number can be very misleading for anyone over 60.
Why would a standard test that we all get be inaccurate just because of our age?
Creatinine is actually a waste product of muscle, and as we age, our muscle mass naturally decreases. This means your creatinine might look normal on paper, even when your kidney function is actually dropping.
That is a terrifying thought. So is there a better way for us to know the truth?
You should specifically ask your doctor for a cystatin C test because it is a much more accurate marker of kidney health for seniors.
That is a gold nugget of information, and I hope everyone is writing that name down right now.
There is also a trap you need to avoid in the 24 hours before your actual blood draw. You must avoid eating any red meat like steak or burgers and skip any heavy exercise like a long hike or a gym session.
How can a single meal or a workout mess up a medical test so significantly?
Both of those activities can cause a temporary spike in creatinine that might look like a kidney crisis when it is really just a false alarm. While these factors can affect a single test, always review the trends of your results with your doctor over time.
That is such a relief to know because I can imagine many people panicking over those false numbers. Doctor, for those who are already seeing high numbers like 1.8 or even 2.0, is there a point of no return?
I want everyone listening to hear this clearly because it is never too late to start the rescue plan. Your kidneys are incredibly resilient organs if you simply stop attacking them with the wrong minerals. Once you switch from attacking to supporting, your body has a remarkable ability to stabilize and even improve its function.
That message of hope is exactly what we needed to hear after learning about the hidden dangers in our pantry. We have covered everything from the nuts that harm to the heroes that heal and the routines that tie it all together. As we wrap up today's conversation, I want to go back to why we are all here. Robert, you mentioned a moment that really puts all of this into perspective.
I spent months feeling so exhausted that I almost missed my grandson's wedding day. I was so terrified that I would not have the strength to even stand during the ceremony. But because I chose to listen and change my habits, I walked him down the aisle last month. Please do not wait for a loud alarm to go off before you start caring for your kidneys.
That is the heart of the matter, because your health truly is in your own hands. You have the power to change your outcome simply by changing what goes into your snack bowl.
It is such a simple choice with such a profound impact on the quality of your life. To summarize, we are saying goodbye to cashews, almonds, and those salty pistachios. Instead, we are welcoming macadamias, walnuts, and ground flax seeds into our daily routine. We want to invite every single one of you to join our 21-day kidney-friendly habit challenge. Just type the words kidney support in the comments below to let us know you are starting today.
Remember that consistency is far more important than perfection when it comes to healing.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for taking this vital step for your health. I am your host, reminding you that small changes today lead to a vibrant and healthy tomorrow.